Boxing King Media, powered by BYD. Mr. Adam Morallee, we're at the press conference just concluded. Sol Dacres rematching his Mr. Webster. What's going to be different about this fight?
I think you're going to see a much sharper Sol Dacres. I think you'll see it on the scales tomorrow. Sol weighed in at 246 last time. It's not all about weight. You're going to see someone significantly lighter and significantly sharper. And he's had the rounds in the gym. He's had the rounds in sparring. You're going to see a much, much better Sol.
Yeah, you already probably know this, but obviously if Sol does win, people are going to be like, "Why the guy only had a week or so's notice." Any concerns about regards to that?
No, look, it is what it is. When someone drops out late, that's the position you're in. You want to defend the English title, you've got to find an English opponent who's willing to take it. Full credit to Michael Webster for taking it on a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks notice. Credit to the guy. But what can you do when you're put in that position and someone drops out late?
What do you make of that? The fact that Sol's had this English strap, it feels like he's had it forever now.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people normally have one fight and they don't really defend it because you can't win it outright anyway. They normally jump straight to British level. So what's the reason behind that?
Look, he won it. He won it in March. He defended it late last year. He was going to defend it in March this year against Adelaide, and then we were thinking around this time fight for the British. Unfortunately, Adelaide dropped out of that one as well, which put us back 4 months. Now we're here. After this, I do want Sol to move on, to be honest. I do want him to move on. I think he's got to break into the Wardley-Clark bracket. They're going to fight. The purse bid's out for that fight, and he should be fighting the winner of that.
And if Adelaide, could he come back into the mix? And if he does, I'm guessing you might want an international belt?
Possibly, depends on timings. We are not, I think personally that ship has sailed now. But you're never ruling it out completely. But I think the ship sailed. Sol doesn't want to build his career through fighting David Adelaide.
Sol, obviously, people that know boxing know there's an incredibly talented fighter, but people are always questioning and bringing up, they want knockouts from him. Yeah. Are you, as a manager, putting that pressure on him or talking about that kind of stuff?
No, not at all. That's not his style. He's not got concussive one-punch power like Johnny Fisher or something. And I think what you'll see with Solomon Dacres is as he goes up the levels, people will become more and more impressed with him. Solomon against like a Bracamonte, people aren't that impressed with him. Someone who's hard to stop, and Sol hasn't stopped him. But you look at people who Sol's box like Sokolovsky, and he'll say he's probably one of the best he's ever faced. So we will see the best of Solomon Dacres as he faces better and better opposition. I'm gutted the Adelaide fight didn't happen. I wanted people to see the level Sol was at. So, but we'll see. We'll see in the future.
Funnily enough, I bumped into Sokolovsky a few months ago. I asked him who was the best he faced. Who do you think he said?
Solomon Dacres.
It was Jalalov, the guy from Uzbekistan. I think he stopped him in 7 rounds, but he said that guy was just freakish.
Yeah, I mean, look, in boxing generally, but in the heavyweight division, you've got a guy like Jalalov, no one wants to face him.
He's still being an amateur, isn't he?
Yeah, no one wants to face him.
You mentioned there Johnny Fisher. Any chance, if it ever came about, would you match both of your heavyweights?
Look, I would never get in the way of that fight if it was for the right money and it was the right fight for both of them. But I think right now it's not the right fight for both of them. Sol's looking at British level, Johnny's looking at English level. But in the future, if it's the right fight for both of them, yeah, I'd make it. I mean, for different reasons, I don't think it's a good fight for either of them right now. I think the styles clash, actually. I think Johnny isn't a great style for Sol, and Sol's not a great style for Johnny right now. But yeah, in the future, for the right money, I would never stand in the way of it.
I just want to get your opinion on, JOYCE, obviously, he got him fighting next week against Derek Chisora. You would have seen the video of Derek the other day, and he put something on Instagram the following day. He went to church to ask for forgiveness in his own words. What do you make of that whole incident?
What, the Deliveroo thing? Yeah, look, I think you've got to be careful deriving stuff from short social media clips. I don't know what really happened. It looked like a bit of handbags, a bit of nothing myself. I didn't really think much of it. Was he getting a Deliveroo order, or did the driver cut him up? I don't know what happened. But I think it's a bit of a storm in a teacup.
Yeah, from what I've read, I think that no police did attend and no further action was taken. So that normally means nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, look, everything can get blown up on social media these days, can't it? It was just an incident. Like, I don't approve of anyone headbutting anyone in the street, especially not a boxer. But I don't know what actually happened.
Just for banter, do you reckon JOYCE could have a delivery at the press conference next week, or maybe turn up in green and white or something?
Who knows? Who knows what could happen? Yeah, it'd be good for that Deliveroo driver to make an appearance.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. And then Derek also put something on social saying it's going to be his last fight at the O2. Do you kind of take that as maybe as he might be looking at that as his last ever fight?
No, I think he's made it clear he wants to fight another couple of times. I think he wants to fight in Zimbabwe once and maybe he'll go up to Manchester. But I think he is nearing the end of his career. He knows he's got a couple of fights, 2-3 fights left, and he's fought so many times at the O2, incredible servant to British boxing, and I think it's emotional for him.
Are you concerned that this fight could be the fight where Joyce basically is going to be judged heavily on how this fight ends, and the manner of if he wins, the manner of the win as well. If he wins on points, have you got like I shall word it, like a target in your mind that what you're expecting from him, like an expectation?
I think it's tough. I think it's a tough fight for Joe in the way that it's a little bit lose-lose. If he finishes Chisora spectacularly, say early, which I don't think is going to happen, but if he does, people say Chisora's finished and he won't get the credit. If he takes a long time, people say Joe's not what he was. So I'm more interested less in Chisora's performance, but in Joe's performance, how he looks between the rounds, his mobility, his punch power, how relentless he is. Because we know what makes Joe Joyce world level. It's that relentlessness and that ability to go through the gears round 7 onwards. So that's what I want to see. There's no specific targets.
Last question. I'm not seeing it since the Dubois AJ fight got announced. Just curious what chances you're giving Dubois in this fight.
I think Dubois will win the fight. And I say that because I've seen the job Don Charles has done with him. Look, you've got 2 terrific heavyweight boxers, both massive punchers, a brilliant fight for British boxing. Joe beat Dubois, and you look at that fight and think how far Dubois has come since the loss.
Do you sometimes wonder like how boxing's mad now? Dubois a world champion and Joe's still trying to be a world champion.
Absolutely. It's you've got to be in the right place at the right time, and even if Joe had beaten Zhang, he'd still be the WBO interim, just like Parker is now, and wouldn't have a world title. So, you've got to wait for your opportunities, but I believe Joe's in the right place. Instead of fixating on which belts you should go for, I think you've always got to focus on the fighter and have him in the best place. I don't think Joe's been in the best place his last few fights, but I'm really excited about him against Chisora. I really think we're going to see a return to the Parker Joe Joyce, and it's scary for the division. But going back to Dubois, your question, I think Don Charles done a terrific job with Dubois, and he's given him that extra confidence. Dubois looked like an absolute killer in the division until he met Joe Joyce, and I think it was a bad style matchup for Dubois, and that's probably why he doesn't want to fight Joe again in his career. I think it's a good style matchup for Daniel Dubois, and I think he'll win late.
Do you think because a lot of people are suspecting that he's going to jump on AJ, whatever that means, are you expecting that?
No, I think this is a very, very top level, world level heavyweight fight, and both got great coaches, Ben Davidson, Don Charles, and it's going to be much more of a chess match, I think, than people anticipate early on, but I think it will end late.
I think it's going to be a fascinating fight either way, Adam. I think. Last question I forgot to ask you. Junaid Boston, Ishmael Davis. Is that going to happen next?
Right now, yes. Right now, it's happening. Both fighters don't want to take a backward step. Both those guys are proud guys, and they're not going to step away from that fight. But from a management perspective, I think Junaid wins the fight. It's a risky fight. You look at risk reward. I think it pushes Junaid on hugely. I think it's got to be for the right money. I think it probably, in an ideal world, as a manager, would I have wanted that fight ordered by the board? No. It should probably happen in a year's time or something when the two have moved on further in their careers. But it's been ordered now, and so Junaid will face his obligations.
And will it be on the Dalton Smith undercard?
I think possibly, yeah. Possibly. I don't know.
When will we get news on whether that's happening or not happening for definite? Is it going to be press bids, or are you looking to... I'm assuming you're going to look to negotiate outside.
I think look, as a manager, you're always looking to negotiate. You're always looking to sort those kind of things out. So I'd like to sort that out in-house, to be honest. But we'll see what happens.
Fascinating. I'm looking forward to that one. That's it, I think, unless you've got any new signings or anything, any gossip.
We've got Guido against Makhmudov, 17th of August, a big fight.
Is he fighting him? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's fighting him on a top-ranked show in Quebec. Good fight. And I think that Guido and Joe, probably after their 2 bouts, should be looking at heading to Saudi.
You know what would be a brilliant fight? If the results go a certain way, Makhmudov and Joyce.
Yeah, they're very similar, aren't they? People think they're very similar stylistically. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting... I mean, you don't know how...
Big guys and...
2 big, massive, not razor-sharp, quick guys.
We just punch heavy.
Yeah, they punch really heavy, and yeah, I'm not sure that's going to be made though.
Oh, well, let's see. Let's see. We can dream. Adam, appreciate your time, mate, and yeah, all the best Saturday night.